Hello everyone, my name is Juan Ochoa and I'm the Coordinator of Faculty Initiatives at the Office of Community Engagement. Welcome to week 6 of our 10-part coffee break series. Last week we went over the best practices to develop community-university partnerships. If you missed that video, I recommend you go back and watch. I would also like to remind everyone that after every video, there will be a very short survey. Complete at least 6 surveys and OCE will email you a certificate of professional development. This week, we'll be talking about the high-impact practice of service learning. We'll be talking about what service learning is, how it differs from volunteering, and review the 5-step S.E.R.V.E model for service learning. There's a lot to discuss, so let's get started. Service learning is a teaching method that combines service, classroom learning objectives, and reflection. Through reflective activities, students enhance their understanding of course content, general knowledge, sense of civic responsibility, self-awareness, and commitment to the community. Service learning is different from volunteering because it is academically based, giving students the opportunity to apply classroom knowledge towards a community project. This gives students an active learning opportunity, which gives the student not only course credit, but also an opportunity to make a greater impact in the community. These types of experiences enriched student learning through actively interacting with course material to create community-based solutions. The combination of service and learning gives students the opportunity to develop interpersonal skills while also developing critical thinking skills through the same project. The best trait about service learning is its focus on equal benefits for the provider and the recipient of the service. Communities stand to gain as much from service learning as the students. Service learning is easy to initiate if you understand the underlying concepts and are open to the opportunities it presents. CSUSB follows the S.E.R.V.E model. Here are 5 steps for effective service learning. First, select the service. Second, educate and inform. Third, respond to the need. Fourth, value significance and reflect. And fifth, evaluate and celebrate. Now, let's dive deeper into each step. Finding a community agency that exhibits a real need for service is just one key step for service learning. Ask yourself whether your efforts truly reflect a community-identified need. Be sure to plan your service project based on the needs of the agency and clarify the steps you will be taking to making sure the project is challenging and engaging for the students and the community. As you get started with your project, be sure to give yourself enough time to develop the right partnership. Anywhere from 3 to 4 months is more than enough time. Also, be sure to be clear yet flexible about what you're looking for in a partner. Ask yourself questions like, what do you want students to learn? How can students contribute to the cause? How many students will be participating? And why are you interested? Some additional considerations that we talked about in previous videos include being clear about what has drawn you to this community partner, why you're invested in this issue that the community partner addresses, what experiences do you have with the issue, the neighborhood, or the people involved in the organization, and how could this partnership support your engaged scholarship work. Also, be sure to think about your commitment. What kind of commitment are you willing to make with a partner? Is it a one-semester partnership, a partnership for many years, or just 1 year? Partnerships of various durations can be effective, but OCE encourages faculty and community partners to consider longer-term partnerships. The next step is to become familiar with any trainings involved in your service project. Obtain any information that may be helpful regarding the site, guidelines and models of service learning, your syllabus, project expenses, and the individuals being served. Find out how to perform the actual service, the purpose of the service, who and where the students will be performing the service with, and any other service-related issues. 3 items of information that may help you in this phase of the project include 1. The exemplary service learning syllabi checklist, and this checklist will help you guide your service learning syllabus into the right direction. 2nd, CSUSB's guidelines to service learning. This is a document that states some expectations for service learning courses and the total amount of service hours required, which for semesters is 25 hours. Lastly, we have a service learning logistic checklist that may be especially useful if this is your first time performing a service learning project. All of this information is listed in the description below. The next step is respond to the need. In other words, action. Follow through on your planning and training and make sure that your service is making a meaningful impact for both the students and the community. Make sure that this effort is time well spent on making a difference in the world. Be sure to set guidelines for students to make sure that their service is meaningful and impactful. The Office of Community Engagement has created a students' do's and don'ts of service learning. Consider sharing this with your students to make sure that they are ready to serve safely. By this phase of the project, you can begin to value significance and reflect. There are numerous ways to actively and personally reflect on the completed service project. Problem solving, journaling, and discussions are only a few, but simply being able to apply the service in a broader perspective is imperative. As you reflect, address, and clarify issues related to the service, and attempt to integrate the service learning within the lives of the students. It is important to take the time and give all students a chance to think about and discuss the completed service project. Reflection activities guide students towards discovering, exploring, and evaluating relationships between the course content as they encounter it in readings, lectures, discussions, and their own experiences in the community. Reflection ensures service learning is a dynamic, integrative process that develops students' knowledge, skills, and judgment. Visit our website for a list of ideas and questions to build your reflection assignments. Last but not least, evaluate and celebrate the service. This is an important step in service learning. Evaluation provides valuable information on the impact of the service effort, the learning that has occurred, and would also provide information about any needed adjustments for the course. Celebrating the service effort will motivate students and increase the chances that they will serve again. Find a way to recognize students and be sure that students are given an opportunity to evaluate the project. Some celebration ideas include community events, awards, certificates, reference letters, gifts, or media coverage. Celebration can also help a student's portfolio. Students can submit their exceptional community engaged work to OCE's ScholarWorks repository. This might be an additional motivator for students, as getting published might help them with applications for job or graduate school. This repository is open access, meaning that communities all around the world can learn from the student work, which can contribute to even more change. A couple final tips before we end the presentation. First, if you're interested in adding a service learning component to a new or an existing course, consider applying for OCE's Service Learning Fellowship Grant. This grant gives faculty up to $2,000 to support the creation of service learning opportunities for students. Second, reach out to the Office of Community Engagement. We offer assistance, resources, and information to help you in any stage of your project. I hope this quick presentation served as a nice introduction to service learning. We just scratched the surface, so feel free to email our office to set up a meeting to discuss potential projects, questions, or partnership development. There is still a lot more information and resources that we cannot fit in this coffee break, but can still help you in your next project. If you have any questions about this video or service learning, please email me at juan.ochoa@csusb.edu. I'd like to remind you to take the quick survey that is listed below, and thank you for joining this coffee break. Join us next week for an introduction of community-based research. Thank you and see you next week.